Hello champions, I am Dr. Monika and today we will learn about mineral nutrition in plants. Now all the living organisms, whether plants, animals, they all require basic nutrients for the growth of their body. Now these basic nutrients, which are called as the basic molecules also inside the body, carbohydrate, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, all these they are required by these plants as well as animals for their growth. Now what is special about the plants? The plants, they can synthesize their own organic matter by photosynthesis, but they need to absorb the inorganic materials from the soil. Now when we say nutrients, so nutrients or minerals, while talking about minerals, one thing comes in the mind, that is rock. Why rocks? Because all the minerals, they are obtained from the rocks. That is why we call them as rock minerals. Now these minerals required by the plants, they play variety of roles in the body of the plants. For example, they maintain the pH of the cell sap of the plants, they maintain the osmotic balance in the plant body, they maintain or they are responsible for building the plant body and many more functions. So all these functions, they are performed by the different nutrients, and it all happened in 1860 when Julius von Sachs, he discovered a new technique by which these plants, they can be easily grown in a soil-less medium. Means we can grow the plants in an artificial nutrient solution medium where soil that is not required at all. And what is the advantage of such a method? That because of this method, we can easily study what is the role of each and every mineral nutrient in the plant body. And if these nutrients, they are lacking, any of these nutrients, if they are lacking in the plant body, they are responsible for causing various deficiency symptoms in the plants. As for example, you might have noticed in the plants that certain plants, there are brown patches formed on the fruits, or stunted growth in the plant body, or the yellow colored leaves in the certain plants. So all these, they are because of the deficiency of one or the other nutrient in the plant body. Now how many nutrients they are required by the plants? Of 105 nutrients discovered so far, 60 they have been considered to be essential for the plant body. Essential means they need to obtain from the surroundings, and these essential elements, they are categorized into two categories: micronutrients and macronutrients. Now micronutrients, also called as trace elements, which are required by the plants in trace amounts. For example, chlorine, boron, manganese, iron, zinc, molybdenum, these are all micronutrients. And on the other side, there are macronutrients, which are required in large amounts by the plants. For example, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, these are all macronutrients. But that doesn't mean that micronutrients, they are not essential. Both are required by the plants, but one is required in certain larger amount, others they are required in still lesser amount. And it is these micronutrients whose deficiency will cause a major effect in the plant body. Now coming to nitrogen. Nitrogen is one of the major or macronutrient in the plant body, and this macronutrient is responsible for building up the nucleic acids as well as proteins in the plant body. And nitrogen, as you know, that it is 78% of the nitrogen that is present in the atmosphere, and it is present in the atmosphere as a diatomic molecule, N2, but still it is not absorbed by the plants, or the plants, they cannot use this nitrogen for building up their plant body. The reason being that the plants, they do not have different enzymes which can convert this atmospheric nitrogen into usable form for the plants. And for that reason, there are microorganisms such as bacteria, blue-green algae, basically these two categories of microorganisms, which are responsible for converting this atmospheric nitrogen into the soil or into usable form, which ultimately goes into the soil, and from the soil this can be absorbed by the plants. Of all the nutrients, as I said, major and minor, it is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, which can be obtained from the air. Rest all the nutrients the plants need to obtain it from the soil itself. So that is why I said rock minerals, they are very important, because from the rocks, by the process of weathering, soil is formed, and ultimately every nutrient that is present in the soil itself, and from there the plants, they can utilize it. Now coming back to the nitrogen, as I said, nitrogen that can be converted into usable form by the microorganisms, and there is this whole cycle of nitrogen which is existing there in nature. As nitrogen from the air, it goes into the soil, and from the soil it is utilized by the plants, and again from the plant body, after the death and decay of these, that goes again into the soil, and again from the soil back into the air. So this is a complete cycle which is occurring, and this cycle is possible because of these microorganisms, and 65% of the nitrogen that is fixed by these microorganisms. And among these microorganisms, the most common fixation that is brought about for the leguminous plants. So there exists a symbiotic relationship between the green plants, certain green plants such as leguminous plants, and the microorganisms such as bacteria rhizobium. So this bacteria rhizobium, it fixes the nitrogen for the leguminous plants, and ultimately leguminous plants, they can utilize it. And this symbiotic relationship is also responsible for enriching the fertility of the soil. So plants, they are greatly benefited from this huge nitrogenous pool in the atmosphere only because of these microorganisms. Thank you.